Your former life was in a bliss of ignorance, until you've awakened to the darkness waiting on the doorstep of our fragile dimension. Something terrible left its eons-old slumber, and the reality, as we knew it, collapsed. The city of Arkham was pulled to somewhere not of this world, and its residents are in the shadows of true terror. As a survivor of this catastrophe, you should investigate the strange occurrences in the city and survive the rising darkness, physically and mentally, if possible.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Ayoto Corporation video. Today we're taking a look at Stygian, Reign of the Old Ones. Now, first disclaimer, I did get this key for free from the developers through a third party. I did not pay for this game. I was not paid to play this game either though. That said, you know me. You know I like Lovecraft, even though I may not know it as well as I really should, considering how much I like to talk about it on occasion. Anyway, yeah, this game is super cool. It's actually a funded Kickstarter game, which came out relatively recently. So I'm just gonna... I have played this game a little bit. I'm gonna make a new character, just so I can walk through the character creation process and sort of give an overview of what the mechanics are like. And then I guess I'll probably have to cut around, because it's a classic RPG. There's a lot of walking around, investigating stuff, looking at stuff, talking to people, in between like the different mechanical bits. But first off, you can select your gender. It mentions here that there's no discrimination based on gender, so you will be able to do everything you want, but different genders will give you different role-playing opportunities. There's a couple of them that might show that I think I've actually run into so far. There's a couple instances where, being a girl, I might have been able to get into a place that I wouldn't be able to by pretending to be like a prostitute or an escort or something. I don't know if that's actually true because I didn't play as a girl, but the option is there. So I'm going to pick a chick for this time. You get to select your age. Age has different bonuses depending on your age. If you're young, you have less experience, but you're more physically fit, which means that you have fewer skills but better physical stats. Adult is, default, and then old means you have more experience, you have more skill points, but lower physique. So I'm going to be a golden gal, and I am going to decrease my agility, because I'm a bit rickety in my old age. You get to pick your archetype, your class. It's not really a class. You can sort of build however you want, but what these will do is increase, I think what these will do is they'll increase your base competency in some skills, and also allows you to reach a higher tier in specific ones. So in this case, I'm going to try and go for an occult-y character. So occult, investigation, medicine, and occult. Yeah, that seems good. Or maybe, let's see, firearm, psychology. What I want to go is science and occult. I want to mix those two together, if possible. Occult and science, so an aristocrat. Perfect. And I get to choose my background, so my specific type of aristocrat. So I get patrician, which has nothing in particular, prodigal, which gives me extra jewelry but lower sex appeal, a cursed bloodline, which means I have better occult but I have a higher crit fail chance, or bankrupt royalty, which gives me +1 survival, but I start the game with fewer SIGs, which is the currency in the game. So I think this is more money. I think what I'm going to go for is Cursed Bloodline, because hopefully this guy will be this girl will be a caster type. And I get to choose my belief system. This is something that on the store page and in the Kickstarter page was sort of billed as a big deal. You get to choose between one of 6 sort of belief systems to help you deal with the year since Arkham got pulled into another dimension. You can be humanistic, helping out other people. Materialistic, you're in it for the money. Nihilistic, you're in it for nothing. Divine, you believe in religion, science, or the occult. And what this will do is choosing your belief will open up extra dialogue options, depending on one thing. For example, I pick a nihilist in my other playthrough, and in various conversations, I got the ability to just give a really bleak, dismal, oh, but nothing really matters after all, kind of thing. You have different kinds as you go through. So in this case, I am gonna go for extra sanity can be gained by selecting rational dialogue choices and through scientific and medical research, or in the case of esoteric, can be gained by selecting esoteric dialogue choices and through occult research. Since I'm going more for occult, I think this is where I want to go for it. And of course, you can pick a character art. The character art in-game reflects this, which is why there isn't a create a character. Let's go with Madame Fortune Teller over here. And how about Jane Badall? So here we are. Now that I've picked up all my character stuff, I get the ability to distribute my stats around. My agility is slightly lower because, I decided it would be lower since I'm old and decrepit. But I get the ability to now upgrade my skills. Or upgrade my stats, which upgrade my skills. So physique, increase my melee and survival, agility, athletics, firearms, melee, subterfuge, and stealth. Senses, firearms, investigation, stealth, and survival. Mind, which is definitely one I want to upgrade. Medicine, occult, psychology, and science. Will, occult and survival. And speechcraft with presence. So I think I want to upgrade this big time. Will is next. I'm going to drop physique 1 and upgrade this a bit. So I have big mind, big medicine, occult, psychology, science. And then this one is also more occult. So I'm big science and occult, also big occult. And over here you can see that I have a 12 in my occult research, scientific research, medical research. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so it is just 1 to 1, it looks like. No, it's not. Affected by mind. Whatever. So, you can see what your stats are going to look like over here as a result of how you adjust your stuff over here. But first, occult, big up. Science, big up. And then speechcraft, I'm going to put 1 there, because it's probably going to be very useful. And maybe 1 into psychology, and maybe 1 into stealth. Because stealth, I found, is actually quite useful. And this is my character sheet. So now that I've filled out my character sheet, we get into Arkham as it is in this other dimension. Press any key to continue. A year has passed since your encounter with that particular fellow known as the Dismal Man. When you last met, he instructed you to find me beyond Arkham after the Black Day. At the time, these words did not mean much to you, but soon after you would come to understand. On what is now known as the Black Day, under the shadow of the Awakened, the world you knew vanished, and with it your hopes, future, and loved ones. For reasons unknown, the city of Arkham was separated from the carcass of Earth and exiled to another place under alien stars, a twilight realm between dimensions. Unlike many others, you survived, body and mind mostly intact. ever since you've existed from day to day in the grey gloom of the old eel house, waiting for that enigmatic man to call, a man whose very existence you're now beginning to question, until you wake into another layer of the nightmare, until the visit at the old attic. And there we are. So, one thing that I will say is not the best is that the animation on the footsteps, or the animation in general, is kind of iffy. It's kind of like, oops, there we go. There we go. So now I have a light. But the animation is kinda jank. It's like that animation where you have things sliding past each other, kind of like an old Flash animation type thing. It works fine. Like, don't get me wrong, it's actually perfectly fine. But it does... Some people are turned off by that kind of thing. And, of course, since it's a Lovecraftian-based game, you have to have your statue of Cthulhu someplace nearby. And that is actually Cthulhu. Like, people actually say it's Cthulhu. And that's the opening to the game. Who the fuck are you? Hold on, this is... what? How do you feel, mistress? Another night plagued with damnable dreams. Not good, not... at all, my good Werner. Such nightmarish visions they were. It was the same accursed man I encountered in the mansion. This is completely new to me. My heart can't bear to see you like this, mistress. The more you obsess over him, the more he seems to lure your ladyship into this tangled web of treachery. Only the resolution of this mystery can bring tranquility to my mind now. Very well, mistress. This is completely new to me. I played like a dude who was a cop, like an ex-cop. He didn't have anyone here to wake up with him. Like, this is completely new. That's wild. And of course, since he's his own character, he's a butler. I bet he has his own skills too. Yep, there they are. He's middle-aged, his belief system is divine, so he believes in God. He was destined to serve your family until death. Let's see, what else? He's got good he's got firearms, he's got melee, he's pretty balanced, I'd say. So I'm just gonna equip him with the good old stick. Because I'm gonna be useless in a fight. I'm gonna put myself with a gun. Always bet on gun. Oh, and I can put a hat on too. You see Marino, the manager and the bartender of the Old Heel. He's been your host for almost a year now, charging in exchange the last of your precious resources. He has a tendency to suck you dry whenever he gets the opportunity. Good morning, Cornuto. If you can call this never fucking twilight morning. What was all that hurly-burly upstairs? Bad dream? Can you separate dreams from reality anymore? Oh, I see. Cornuto is quite a philosopher. I find my own view simpler and more effective. Whether this is dream or reality or fucking inferno, the question is, can you die? If you can kick the bucket, which is definitely still the case, my friend, I guess this is real enough. But if you want to give it a shot, I could spare you a pistol. Since you're awake, let's talk about the cigs you owe me. You were too drunk to pay yesterday and told me to remind you later, remember? But I don't see any bruises on myself, and if I'm unhurt, I must have paid the bill. So this is already completely new. Like, I had a different dialogue option where I just sort of did it like a backhanded back and forth with him. But, like, this is already completely different. So I'm just gonna take this in for a minute. Like, now I've got to deal with this guy here. Another thing that's absolutely fantastic about this game is how much detail they put into all the dialogue and stuff. Like, it all feels... Don't get me wrong, the writing is really, really overdone. Like, but it feels like the kind of thing that you would actually read in a Lovecraftian type novel. Just like all this extra prose sort of going into describing how all these people look like they're out of place or just barely hanging on by a thread. It's all really good. Let's play. Oh, I'm gonna suck. My agility is trash. I forgot about that. Herschel wins. Yeah, I'll deal with you another time, Herschel. I beat him in my other game because I had a high agility, so he just kind of got pissed, threw a dart at me, and then ran away, crying. Ah, yes. So these are the controls. Most of it can be done from here. The major parts you need to know are that you have keyboard bindings and that when you get an object you can interact with, which I believe there should be one on this screen. There's one here. You can do the left click to choose between looking at it to get a little bit of lore here, or you can interact. And you can use that to pick up stuff from the trash. Now, just to speed things along, I'm probably gonna die. I'm gonna come in here because there's a combat segment that I can get right into, which is honestly probably gonna, like, kill me straight up, since I have very little combat ability. We'll just see how it goes. Maybe I won't die immediately. Who knows? A strangely presentable man in a sharp suit waits eagerly at one of the destroyed cash counters. The moment he sees you, he begins to speak rapidly and enthusiastically. Hello, madam. How may I assist you? As you can see, this has been a very busy day. It looks like the boom has finally come to Arkham. It's nice to see our little town thriving, don't you think? Sure is. Of course you agree, madam. We all share the same dream in this country at all. As proud His voice cuts off abruptly and freezes in place. He doesn't even blink. He looks almost like a living statuette. You're really lost, aren't you? Some men are endowed by the Creator with certain alienable rights. Let me help you with a transaction, madam. May I see your credentials, please? Sure. He instantly grabs the object from your hand. Let me see. It says you're a scatterbrained ne'er-do-well. Here are your documents, madam. I hope they will aid you in the game of misery, piss, and shit. And then, I get ambushed, which is always fun. A group of raving lunatics suddenly jumps from behind the booths. You're ambushed! Waltz of Madness. Oh, he ran away. Wait, I just realized I don't think he was wearing pants. Wow, rude. Alright, so let me go over how combat works here. First, it's turn-based. As you can see up here, this is the order of initiative, and you have the ability to move characters. So in this case, I can move this guy any space I can reach, which is pretty much here. It costs one of these action points per movement. I can also smack him with a club. That costs me 3 action points, which means I can only do it twice and I can move once. Which I think I will do that. Ooh, wow, nice. 4 damage. 4 damage. Oh, it was a graze. And then just to be on the safe side, I'm going to have him move over here. In my case, I am going to... I believe this is actually too close for me to hit him properly, so I'm going to back up slightly and shoot. Shoot with a pistol. And now, since that used up almost all of my AP, what I'm actually going to do, I have the option to defend, which will increase my physical defense, or focus. And what that will do is it'll use up the remaining action points on my turn, and hopefully increase my damage output on the next round. Ah, good old insanity. Thank God Werner's tough. Raving lunatic succumbs to despair. Wow, rude. Howl of Insanity. Okay. Oh, wow. That's a lot of sanity damage to you. Okay, let's see here. I am going to come over here. Give you a back attack. Nice, that's 1 dead. And then I'm going to focus up. Now, in my case, I am going to... Let's see, what's best? Shoot this one. And miss. Jane, you are bad at all of this, aren't you? Focus again. Ow. Ow. Grazed him, which, thank God. I'm actually taking quite a bit of damage. Okay, shoot this one. Nice. Oh, cool. Okay, so this... Now that I have killed enough enemies, I can go through what is known as a progressive escape in the game. What that means is that I don't actually need to kill everyone. All I have to do is kill enough things in this fight to reach this point, then I move here, and retreat. So, the way progressive escapes work is they're effectively a way for you to complete a battle without actually having to complete the battle. You're able to... Sorry, creepy ambient noises are going on. You're able to complete the fight and make progress just by completing most of it. You'll get fewer rewards that way, because you're running away effectively from the middle of the fight. And you can, I think you get more XP by killing everyone in the fight as well. So you will come out weaker by doing it. So there is a benefit to staying in the fight and killing everything. But this is way easier. Also, you can loot enemies mid-combat, so... Since you normally would loot after combat, where, you know, you can do as much as you want without worrying about it, you can loot enemies and hightail it out of there before anyone gets to you. Now, I'm not going to spend too much extra time in here. I pretty much did what I needed to there in order to show off the combat a bit. I don't think I have the ability to show off any of the skills, unfortunately. Ah yes, there's the gate. The iconic gates of the institution of higher learning lie in ruins. The way is impassable for now. And that's the pathway to the Miskatonic University. That was a close one. So that's actually something that's been bothering me a bit. There's a lot of stuff that happens very quickly in the beginning of the game. Like, as you go through the start of the game, a lot of things will just happen one after another, after another, and after another. Like, you'll meet new characters, you'll get little events that show up, you'll get main quest lines that show up and drag you off to random places. All this stuff just happens rapid fire. It's honestly almost overwhelming, but in a good way. Like, there's just so much stuff happening. It makes the game feel real full and alive. Oh, hold on a second. There's a prostitute over here. I want to see what she does if I talk to her. Oh, hi, darling. Interested in a good time? Don't worry, I have a few tricks up my sleeve just for you. I'm sure you'll like them. All tested on myself with great care. What do you say? No thanks. So you can, in fact, hire the prostitute, even as a woman. Can I go upstairs any further than this? Looks like I cannot. Ooh, dead body. Nice. But anyway, as I was saying, there are a lot of things that it feels like are sort of almost tutorialized in the game. Like, just because I was playing earlier the new game from Game Freak. You know how in Pokemon, in the second town you go to, there's always the old man who shows you how to catch a Pokemon, regardless of if you've been catching Pokemon for the past 20 years or so? It's kind of like... That's kind of that I think it's going to be like, where you can beat the game once, but then when you go through it again, you're going to hit these events that keep popping up and go, yeah, I know about this, I don't really care about this, or I've already done this, I don't want to do it yet, just let me through. So I'm wondering how well that's going to go on, like, further replays. There might be ways to, like, skip around that, sort of like how I kind of just shotgunned the bank just then, knowing exactly what to do. Oh, hold on a second. I wonder if I can talk to him now. The wretched creature before you can hardly be described as human. It is wearing odd, anachronistic clothes and has wrapped its face and hands in tattered rags. Its cringing, confused movements further verify the status of this unfortunate outcast. The humanoid creature is talking with itself in an uneasy, guttural tone. His voice is like a cold breeze blowing from beyond the grave. Why have the cruel gods chosen me for their ghastly amusement? The moment he sees you, the wretched creature draws back in horror. As a disciple of the dark arts, you can sense the occult energies emanating from this being. Hello? You sense the creature observing you with its yellow, ghoulish eyes, barely visible beyond the filthy rags. The outlandish being starts to talk in a rugged but strangely educated tone. Harm is the only thing your kind has brought to me. To think I once foolishly believed us to be kin. Leave me alone! The creature scurries quickly away from you. So, I don't know what that guy's deal is. All I know is that you can get him as a companion. I don't know how. I know you can. but I haven't managed it yet. Maybe someday I will. Anyway, I was talking about the tutorialization sort of segments. I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue, but I haven't played through enough of the game on my first time through to really tell. So I'm not sure if a lot of that stuff that I've been seeing is sort of ignorable and things I can skip past, or if it's things that I need to do eventually that, you know, you just have to wait to be introduced to. For example, this guy right here. He's a hireable henchman. Unlike your normal companions, he does not count as a companion, so he can be a fourth party member, as far as I can tell. But at the same time, you have to pay for him to be there while he's there. Seems decent, though. I'm gonna just... Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I've seen how you stare at me. Does it have a price too? That is quick, senor. Eduardo really disappoints in art del amor, but these things need some time, no? Ooh. Interesting. So I can actually speechcraft to lower his price. Sure. Okay. Well, I picked up a guy. Cool. So, what do I think about this game in general? Well, like I said, I have not played too much of it. I think I played about, I want to say like 6 hours-ish? Probably more, honestly. I don't have the number off the top of my head. But I've been really enjoying what I've been playing. Like, it's a good classic RPG kind of game. It has all the trappings. You have skills which give you different aspects. There's like little puzzle games that sort of match based on what your skill sets are. Like, investigation will give you one way to open a door, where science might give you a different way. And, of course, the atmosphere and ambiance is fantastic. Just the way the writing is done is great. The musical cues. I'm not the biggest fan of the combat music, which kind of has this weird, like... It, like, goes a... It kind of is that weird kind of thing where it starts and stops. But that's just like a personal taste thing. Overall, though, I really dig this game. What? What are you... Are you somebody? Are you looking at me? Who, me? No, sir. No, I didn't. Ripperoni. But yeah, so I'm just gonna give my final verdict before I start getting more distracted by this game. I think this game is absolutely fantastic. There are a couple issues which the devs have addressed on Steam and other sources. There's a couple tutorialization things that need a bit of work, like basic mechanic introductions on how resting works, where you can level up or use your skills to do different stuff, do research and that sort of thing when you're sleeping. And also the ending. I have not reached it myself, but the game ends on kind of a cliffhanger. With regards to that, the devs stated that it was more of a case of wanting to get the game out in a complete form or cutting out. They had the choice between rushing the game out incomplete without all the features they wanted, or pushing it out with the features they wanted but cutting out sort of the end parts of the game. And they chose that option. However, there is actually a sequel for this game already in the works, and I am super excited about that because this game so far has been fantastic. So it's $30, which is probably a bit steep if you're sort of on the fence about it. I would say that, like, if I had known how good this game was, I probably would have just been fine with paying $30 for it. Because, you know, in addition to being like a 15-hour game, I think, there is going to be plenty of replayability because it is a classic RPG. There's already several things that I had no idea were even a thing based on my first playthrough. And there's dozens of different ways you can build a character. Of course, there is always the risk of building a character that simply can't beat the game, but if you go back to the main menu, there are these pre-made characters for both male and female who have different skill selections and that sort of thing. So you are going to be able to have a character who I assume should be able to complete the game. Even if, you know, it isn't the character you wanted to play. But, yeah. 2 thumbs up. Definitely recommend this game if you have any interest in old classic RPGs or Cthulhu or both. And look forward to whatever they're coming up with next. Hopefully this doesn't turn into a Dark Corners of the Earth situation where the game is a first game for a series that never comes to pass. Anyway, that's all for me for now, I think. Thanks for stopping by. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe, what have you. And as always, I will see you next time.